We up here, we work a lot. And I think a lot of times we take stuff for granted. Like if you ever saw a guy in army fatigues, he's pulling over, so he sees a guy, he makes a U-E in the middle of the street, he's talking to this guy, and he recognized the platoon that the guy was from. Man, I know, did you know what? Yeah, I know him and then. So the guy was down on his luck, and my father he had like 5 double cheeseburgers left. My father had $20. And in my mind, I'm like, what are you doing, bro? I'm gonna eat that later. When y'all go to sleep, after everybody get there, I'm gonna eat. What are you doing? Like I'm like, selfish at this point. Like we finally get some change. I get to stop eating army crackers and army cheese. This is my food. So he gives the guy the food, and he gets in the car and he slams the door, and he got a little tear in his eye, and he just looks and says, "If you ever make," and like I remember these words, "If you ever make it big time, make sure you help those in need." And then on Thanksgiving, he would go to the barracks, round up the troops, and we'd have blankets, we have all the army rations that they were getting ready to throw away. Whatever we can, Spam, peanut butter, bread, give it to the homeless people. So those are 3 things that I do today because of what a man that made $30,000 a year taught me. I'm a very successful individual, and for my children, they're gonna have to work to get what I've built for us. Like I'm not doing any handouts. I have 3 sons and 3 daughters. The girls will get a little more leeway than the guys. They know that in order to hang out with me and do the things that I do. One of my sons, all of my sons are smart, but one of my sons, my oldest son, is brilliant. So I said, my man, go to the dealership, get whatever car you want. So he comes back with the paperwork for Mercedes-Benz. And I pulled him to the side, I said, my man, I'm rich, we're not rich. Yes, my father was a drill sergeant, and he was the type of gentleman that you never question. So when I was young, let's say I went on a Saturday, playing at the local Boys and Girls Club. We'd celebrate, trophy be there Saturday. When I wake up on Sunday, it'd be gone. So I never asked him why. Wow. So finally, when I made it to the NBA, I asked him, I said, why do you used to take all my trophies when I was young? He said, because I never wanted you to be dissatisfied. Because I would come in and be like, oh, you took the football trophy? Watch me get a basketball one. The great Jim Valvano once said, the greatest gift anyone can give another person is believing in them. So I'd like to start by saying thank you to those who first believed in me. We started off alone together in Newark, New Jersey, with you being a single mom. My first recollection was of you fighting with the bus driver because he refused to believe that a 2-year-old could be this big. But I also remember you ultimately convincing him with that right cross, Mama said knock you out, and him holding his hand over his right eye agreeing, saying, yes ma'am, kids 2 and under do ride for free. I apologize. Though we were alone, family was never too far away. My great-grandmother, Cilla O'Neill, grandmother, Odessa Chambliss, Uncle Roy, Aunt Vivi, Aunt Velma. Because of the love and generosity of family, Mom and I always had a place to lay our heads. And a place where I was able to have my favorite food, which happens to be everything. Then one day, while working at City Hall, Mom met the man who would become the biggest male influence in my life, Sergeant Philip Arthur Harrison. My father, Sergeant Philip Harrison, was a disciplinarian. He was firm but fair. It was my first exposure on how an effective leader operated. And when I didn't listen, I was introduced to his alter ego, affectionately known as the Belt. He was a student of the game. It was because of him I was introduced to the game and developed a love for basketball. He realized that I was going to be a big guy. So I remember he made me memorize 3 names and he would quiz me on them. In his eyes, these 3 guys were gods of the game. Bill Russell, give it up, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And Bill, again, I'm honored that you was able to walk me in. And I know that Wilt and my father are in heaven smiling down upon us. And if I know my father, he's up there arguing with Wilt Chamberlain right now, trying to convince Wilt that his son is the most dominant big man to ever play the game. My first exposure to leadership was when I was given babysitting duties while Mom and Dad work and having to corral my brothers and sisters. In a way, this is where I led my first corporation. My sister Latifah was my VP of dishes. My sister Aisha was the chief operating officer of bed making. And my brother Jamal was my director of leaves. They would always report to me as I would be in deep thought, eating bologna sandwiches and Frosted Flakes and watching General Hospital. Luke and Laura forever, by the way. I can remember the day that gave me great anxiety was when we left Newark, New Jersey, and we ended up in Wild Flicken, West Germany. It was really here that started a series of events that would help create the character known as Shaq. It's important to know that my roots started untraditionally, with no fanfare. As a matter of fact, I was cut by my coach freshman and sophomore year. And I thought about giving it up, could have all ended there, but there were 3 people who would change the direction of my life. Ford McMurtry, Ford, where are you?